Let's focus on your career now, and obviously won the Prem twice when you were playing at Leicester, part of a legendary team full of some really big characters back then. Can you tell us a little bit about the celebrations for the wins?
Leicester was it was an unbelievable time in my career. Obviously, I just left school. I got my shot in the first team due to injuries. Pat Howard was the coach then. Dino had just left. And yeah, it was just to be part of that team, that first sort of 3 or 4 years of my career. I think likes Austin Healey, Leon Lloyd were there, Alesana Tuilagi, Martin Johnson. For me as a kid growing up, these are people that I'd sort of watched on telly. So to be playing with them in my first year was, was incredible. And obviously went on, we had won the Premiership against Gloucester in the final, came off the bench in that one. Yeah, and definitely Leicester knew how to celebrate the wins as well, which was good.
Quick word, you mentioned him, Alesana Tuilagi. How dangerous was he on a night out? Did you ever see him involved in any big scraps?
Alesana Tuilagi on a night out. Stay away from him on a night out. Jesus. I remember one time he got so steaming. He was running across the cars down Granby Street. I mean, literally across the cars, and he tripped and fell. And he was there like a little baby in the middle of the field. And these 2 police officers came and picked him up, scooped him up, put him in the back of the van. But Alesana Tuilagi was an absolute nightmare on the piss. Absolute nightmare. And stay as far away from him as possible. I remember after one of the finals, we lost actually to Sale Sharks. So we were all a bit down the dumps. And Alex and Seru had a fight in Welford Road. And it was it was horrendous. And then someone called the police. They came in, threw smoke grenades into Welford Road, took them out, arrested them, and off they went. So yeah, they were wild. Once they went on, when they got a few beers in them, it was an absolute nightmare.
You just don't know their own strength.
Oh,
like one of those blokes that he gives you a little jab when he's had a few beers.
Yeah, and you wake up 2 days later. Yeah, exactly.
What was he like to train with, though? He's obviously just a mountain.
He was fine. He was so chill to train with. Obviously, Leicester used to love their contact sessions every single day. So you'd try not to have Alex in front of you because you couldn't tackle him. He was absolutely massive. But he was pretty chill trainer. Pretty chilled. It's when you got him on the pitch playing a game. He was just unbelievable. Unbelievable player.
In that era, we've got the sort of Julian White, Martin Johnson, Martin Corrie, Astrid Giovanni.
Yeah.
The real legends of the game. Talk us through the brutality of the Tigers initiation when you joined.
So it's something called the backseat challenge. So if you're a young kid on your first away game, you'd have to take the back seat. And on the back seat, when I did it, Julian White, Lewis Moody, Ben Kay, Martin Corrie, Richard Cockrell was sat there. I luckily had Jim Hamilton going up with me. So I went first. Martin Corrie laid into me. Lewis Moody was kicking me to death. And then Jim came behind and actually saved me a little bit. But I stupidly hit out at Martin Corrie. He was wearing some glasses and he literally pulled out his belt and just started whacking me around there. It was brutal. And I remember just having the biggest welts on my head. I got to the back seat, managed to crawl underneath them all, thought I could leave. And they're like, nah, you're staying here with me. And end up drinking all the way back home from the away game. Absolutely steaming. Richard Cockrell was more steaming than me because as we got out off the bus, they chucked him in a bush. We went in and had our drinks at the stadium and came back out and Richard Cockrell was still in the bush, asleep, snoring. So, yeah, initiations were interesting at Tigers. I remember when I left, eating cat food, having to drink pints of piss, just to punish for leaving the club. But it was one of them environments that, it was insane, but you sort of bought into it because that was what everyone did. And it was fun. You do enjoy yourself, even if you do get the shit kicked out of you most weeks.
Did Big Jim make it to the back of the bus? He reckons he's a scrapper, doesn't he, from Cov?
Yeah, Jim's a scrapper. Jim is a scrapper, and he's about 8 foot tall as well. So, yeah, he made it to the back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I remember Matt Cornwall didn't make it to the back. Matt Cornwall came after me, and he just got stripped completely naked, beaten up, and chucked back to the front of the bus. But yeah, it was interesting times at Leicester. Completely opposite to Wasps, which are a lot more low key. London boys, naughty boys, but a good bunch of lads, really good bunch of lads. And you had Shaw Edwards leading the charge as well. So yeah, he's an interesting character.
Simon Shaw, was he there?
Yeah, Shawsy was there. Phil Vickery came for a little bit as well. Saki was there. Sips was there. Haskell was there. Tom Rees. So no, it was a good bunch of lads. A lot of talent in the team, but we just underachieved massively with the squad we had. In terms of enjoyment factor, like I said, it was probably more enjoyable just because it's a lot more low key and not as like old school, I should say. It wasn't nowhere near as brutal as Leicester.
Spartan, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That said, how many players did you see Sean knock out?
Sean actually tried to knock me out one time. Sean never means to try and hurt anybody. It's just his mentality. He's an absolute psychopath. So you go and you're doing like fitness wrestling, you're in a ring and you've got to wrestle. Sean takes it to the extreme. It becomes a street fight. So you have a fight or you get killed by Sean. So I remember Sean, he's on my neck and I stood up and I was like, are you going to get off now? I've made back my feet. No, he keeps going. I think he's trying to choke me out. I'm having to literally press Sean off me to throw him off me. You've either got to kill the bloke or run away. But yeah, he was an unbelievable coach. He got made head coach and he invented this move where the hooker crossfields it to the winger. It was just an absolute shambles. But he would always try and think outside the box. He was the nicest bloke in terms of socials. He'd come in, he would give all the team money to go on the piss. He was crazy. I remember the first day I got there, he went, 2 things, Tommy, if you want to be successful in rugby. Don't take drugs and don't eat toast. And I was like, okay, Sean, cheers, mate. Thanks a lot, buddy. And I think I was just like, at that point, I was like, right, Sean, you are an absolute nutter. I'll keep you as my coach, but that's it. We will not be socialising outside rugby because you are a lunatic. But no, he's a great guy. And you've seen the success he's had having the moment in France. Like, he is a fantastic rugby coach.
So speaking of socials, Max just had his end of season party at Bristol, but didn't you once receive a weird present when you had a Christmas party at Leicester?
Oh, come on, guys. Really? Yeah, I got given an anal vibrator.
One of them.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
I know all about it.
It was meant to be a joke, but you got to try these presents one or 2 times, 3 or 4 times. So, yeah, it was an anal vibrator. I don't know why I got it. I'd never used an anal vibrator before. I think it was Andy Coon that got it for me, actually, when we were at Wasps.
You sure it was an anal vibrator? It wasn't a toothbrush or anything like that?
It might have been a toothbrush. But it went
it was an electric toothbrush.
The normal B.
It went up my arse, so I hope it was an anal vibrator, not a toothbrush.
Have you still got it, Tom? Have you got it there?
No, it broke. It broke. Snapped it in my arse.